So it's only times y'all care about being equals is when it's something that benefits you. And that's why I say like that a lot of women have either been corrupted by feminists or just inherently just selfish or people. Because those are the only people who would want to have something at the expense of someone else. Nothing that men ask for is at the expense of women. We go take it from other men. We're not going, we compete with other men for the things we want. Nothing is at you guys' expense. But when we try to, if we said like, and the only people who want to be equal to women are towards.
So can
You're right. Hold on, you're right.
can
You're
I
right.
say
You shouldn't be
something?
waiting.
Because you
You're
said that
right.
I was the one that
Hold
said
on, y'all.
that.
Let her finish.
She's muted, so I don't know if she wants to talk or still talking.
Yeah, she was still talking.
I'd be real quiet when people be talking, but for some reason, when I talk, everybody
go ahead, bro. You got it. The floor is yours,
Jesus.
man.
You know what I'm saying? And now I don't even know where I was. Just go ahead. God damn it.
Okay, can I say something? Yeah, I never said for myself I want equality. And when I was mentioning women, and a lot of women speak about equality. Actually, it doesn't have to be you, because you were kind of using we and me interchangeably, so I was kind of confused with your argument, if you were speaking about yourself or if you're speaking about women. I a lot of the times hear women speak about equality and how they think that men and women are the same, and we are not the same. And I've mentioned that, I think, about like 2 to 3 times. But I've been on panels many times emphasizing on the fact that I hear about equality all the time. So it doesn't have to be you, but I would say that if you don't see yourself with this like whole equality thing, then you're actually the minority. I do think a majority of women talk about how we're the same, and all these different type of feminist talk that I hear all the time on the internet. And I don't actually think it's necessarily an internet thing. I think this is something that happens in real life. But I also think that subconsciously they don't know that we are actually not the same. But I think that just like overall, I think it's just like their mindset and this delusion actually that they think that we are the same. But for myself, I don't think that. Just to clear that up.
I think it's an immaturity in some of them. Whereas they need to, I know a lot of people say no tit for tat, and I believe in no tit for tat, but like sometimes people need you to illustrate to them the things that you do. It just is what it is. Sometimes people need to hear that. And I know, at least for me, when I have conversations, the way that I talk, I know that I'm being heard. Like when I talk to women, they're hearing me, and I want to hear them, So like I'll find myself having to articulate the differences between men and women and what men are doing and stuff like that. And they'll hear me and they'll change their perspective, at least during that conversation. They'll probably revert back, in a week. But at least during that conversation, they be hearing me. So
if there's the panel in general, do you guys know the difference between equality and equity? So, BK, what's your definition of those two words?
To put it in layman's terms, I would say equality is giving everyone the same thing, versus equity is giving everyone the tools to achieve the same thing.
So if that's the definition, why is that not what you guys want, or what you said you wanted for women instead of equality?
Well, I was talking about in general, right? When it comes to working hours and putting in effort, right, into the household. And so I do think a lot of people want equality. They want to. I do think people want to see you putting in just as much work as they put in. I'm not saying that's the best way to do things, but it is what a lot of people do want. They want to say, okay, if I'm in this kitchen cooking for 4 hours, throughout the week, let's just say they cook 4 times a week, is an hour to cook, whatever. They want to see you doing 4 hours worth of work somewhere, whether that's at work or at home. They want to look like y'all are matching right time. And yeah, that's essentially.
So that's what you refute. You kind of, now you saying something different earlier, because doing the work that we already proved that the at work part don't count to y'all when y'all come home, have to do work at home. So the at work part is a wash when average couples, because they're both working. The part where you still, like, even to your own definition, you still want equality more than equity, because you said if they do four extra hours of house labor, he only does a half, then that's not equal to you. Even though with the amount of work that it takes for that man to do an hour and a half of work and what it takes you to do your 4s, it's an equitable distribution of labor and effort based on who you guys are. So that's my point. Like there's a certain time, like when people, like the only time women care about equality is when it's at the expense of men. The only time. There's never a situation where a woman cares about being equal to a man that doesn't benefit her. Because on the opposite side, y'all don't want to be equal to men when it comes to how we address disrespect, how we address physical conflict at all. Because again, if that were to happen, you would lose forever. So it's only times y'all care about being equals is when it's something that benefits you. And that's why I say like that a lot of women have either been corrupted by feminists or just inherently just selfish or shitty people, because those are the only people who would want to have something at the expense of someone else. Nothing that men ask for is at the expense of women. We go take it from other men. We compete with other men for the things we want. Nothing is at you guys' expense. But when we try to, if we said like, and the only people who want to be equal to women are trannies and sissies. So y'all don't even date them no way.
Just to clarify, right? I did say working, right? If you work more hours, that's why I said if he works 41.5 hours at work and she works 40 hours and the homework equals out to 5 or 6 hours, she wants him to take on some of that so that the total working hours are equal is what which goes to my point. Right.
You guys think that the work we do at home is equal to the work we do outside the house, and it never is.
Well, you're saying we, but the average, right? Like yeah,
I'm talking about the average now, and it's not.
In what way?
No housework that you do is going to be as difficult as what the average working man does at work. And the more important part is the extra work he does out the house puts money in the house. He gets paid for doing that work. So again, it's never going to be equal, but it can be equitable. It just will require you to understand that, and most women refuse to.
Go ahead, Bob. You want to respond to somebody? And then let's get trapped now. So you came out the mic.
You said me?
I thought you came out the mic first. Like you want to respond.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. So what do you call a woman? Because I hear this feminist thing all the time. And apparently feminists are selfish and whatever else. Because that's the word I just heard. What do you call women who want fair treatment that also advocate for men having fair treatment? Because those are the only feminists I know.
Well, one, feminists, they want equality at the expense of men en masse. And that's not even refutable. But the women you're talking about, they aren't feminists. They're just good women. There's not a title for being a good, fair person. There's no special like badge you get for saying, hey, I want men and women to be treated fairly, because that's not what women say. That's not what feminists say. Good women will say that. So say that that's what you believe, right? I wouldn't call you a feminist. I would fight tooth and nail and die on that hill to say you're not a feminist. But a feminist will say that I want men and women to be treated. I want women to be treated fairly, and if that benefits men, okay. Not that that's part of the actual objective. And that's the problem that I have with feminists in general. Like, pick a wave. Feminist has been bad for women. It puts you guys in a position you don't want to be in, i.e. the workforce. And you guys, women, are still trying to stick to it in all these different iterations of it. And it's just, all it's doing is making shit worse for y'all.
I don't disagree with that last part. I don't know. All of the women that I know that say that they align with like, and not really feminist, that's just a word that people use. Like it's not really a word for it, honestly. So they just use the word feminist. They usually fight for equal treatment for everyone. So like men also should have fair treatment, especially in relationships. Men also should not be overburdened in relationships. So like those are the only feminists that I know. That's why I was like, what do you call those women if
so that's right. Feminists fight for equal treatment, not equitable treatment, which is what's fair.
Okay. I got you.
They want equal. They want a woman to get the same outcome as men, regardless of what they have to do to get that outcome. They want men to have their outcomes limited based on what women can do, because if a woman can't lift 100 pounds, a man shouldn't get extra for being able to do it. Feminists, they want, again, everything is at the expense of men. Women that you're talking about, you guys should be looking for equitable treatment, not equal treatment. Because again, for example, here's a great example of equal and all. If I pull my chair out, if we're all out to eat, right, and just say that you're my woman, and so I pull everybody's chair out, that's equality for all women. If I only pull your chair out based on who you are to me, what you've done, what you do for me, the role you fill for me in my life, and who we are together and what our goals are as a couple, that's equitable. And if I'm doing it for everybody, they don't deserve that. They should have men or their fathers or the waiter should have did it. But I do it for you because I make sure that you have a equitable treatment in the way that I treat women. I treat all other women the same. So which is y'all pick up your own shit. But for you, based on who you are and the work you've done in that scenario, I pull your chair out because I'm supposed to as your man.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think in fairness, go ahead, George.
Yeah, I was just going to say a lot of these issues that we're talking about, I think we could simply avoid them by having discussions prior to being into a deep relationship. If you're already in one, I get it. But if you are to the point where you want to take a person seriously, I think this is absolutely part of the discussion that needs to be had. Where you're speaking about finances, what people are comfortable paying, how you would distribute housework. What is it? Are you comfortable with gender roles? These are all extremely important, but we don't have these conversations. A lot of times we get caught up in the love, the lust, and not understanding the business aspect of it and what's actually going to make that person want to be with you for the rest of your life. We don't really pay attention to that. And that's not going to really get us anywhere. If we're looking at it and saying, we're going over so many different things as far as the relationship is concerned, we'll take hours and hours and hours and hours to plan a wedding, but we won't take any time to put these scenarios together to see what kind of a man you are, what kind of a woman you are. Then, yeah, that's going to be problematic. And it gets tough when you start trying to go tit for tat, because there's going to be times in a relationship for particularly the average people where you might need to lean on that person for some point, right? So if you have to lean on that person, you need to understand that they're going to be available for you, and it'll be vice versa sometimes. But again, what you say?
No, but so Trev, I think it need to be even more than a conversation. I think people need to have agreements. I think they need to write them
contractual
down.
And I was going to say
it don't even got to be a contract, because it's probably not going to be legally enforceable. But y'all need to write it down so that you can refer to, like, no, don't tell me I didn't say this. No, I said that. This is your signature, right? Like, I think people need to write it down so that they can actually read it and go reference it.
I do think that there needs to be an expanded conversation, and then maybe even being written down. What you are, in my opinion, seeing is that men are actually starting to ask more questions. Because again, like I said earlier in the broadcast, a lot of the women socially off the bat, I don't care almost who you speak to, they know what we're supposed to do in a relationship. They know what we're supposed to do. They fail to understand what they have to do. And that's why I asked earlier, are you a good teammate? And most of the women attempted to answer, and some of them did. But if you ask the average woman, are you a good teammate in a relationship? She's going to look at you crazy. Like, what you mean teammate? Like, what? Like, because that's not how their minds is conditioned, generally speaking, talking in general. Not talking about the unicorns like Bo. I'm saying in general, this is the case. And that's what's happening, is the fact that, like you said, Trev, there needs to be extensive conversation. You may need to lean on somebody. Nobody's asking, okay, like in a perfect scenario, when we're rocking and everything is working, what if my car engine explodes and then I got to get to work? Are you going to take me? Or are you expecting me to Uber? Because automatically, if her car engine explodes, without her telling you, she's expecting you to fix it. That's just off the bat, right? Because you're the man. You know what I'm saying? So that's typically is the issue. And what we're finding is that, well, yeah, we need to figure out equality and equitable, and then define them on an individual level in relationships. And I'll land.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't even understand that as being a compatibility issue, but it is, right? We're definitely worried about sexual chemistry. We're definitely worried about, how do you eat? We're worried about where do you align politically? You'd be surprised how many people will not talk to you because you might be a right or a left or whatever. But we're not concerned about being compatible with something that we're going to have to do on a regular basis. I think it's crazy.